the Boston Red Sox, who joins us this week, Craig Breslow. Hey, Craig, good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing?
Doing well. I wish we had a result to talk with you about that was one other than a sweep here in this series with the Angels. Where are you this morning on what is going on currently with this baseball team?
Yeah, I think we need to play better, and we need to play better across every aspect of the game. We saw it in glimpses where the rotation carried us for about a 2-week stretch, and then we had some good offensive performances. But watching the games, you can see a play or two or three each night and say that's going to drive a loss instead of a great play that's going to lead to a win. And there have been base running mistakes and defensive miscues, and then the inability to make a big pitch when the game is on the line. And you put that all together, and after that really good stretch of games that we had been playing, we're back under 500, and we're still trying to figure out how to put it all together.
In the 9 games prior to the Devers trade, the team was 7-2. Since the trade, the team is 3-6. Did you expect a result like that when it came to trading Rafael Devers?
No, I thought that we would continue to play good baseball, and I still think that we'll play good baseball. But I don't think that these losses can be distilled down to one player, one spot in the lineup, and we haven't been playing great defense. We haven't been running the bases well, and we haven't been pitching well. And so we've been finding too many different ways to lose games to be able to say, hey, this is the one reason.
Craig, I know you said that you guys need to play better overall, but focusing on the pitching, besides Crochet, it's been a bumpy road for a lot of your guys. Do you feel like Andrew Bailey is still the right guy for this job?
I do, and I understand the performance and the questions that would lead to, but I also know the conversations that are going on every day, and the work that Andrew and the rest of our pitching group are doing to try to get the ship moving in the right direction. And it's been inconsistent. We've seen glimpses of success, and Lucas has thrown the ball much better lately, and we've seen Bayo pitch deeper into games and use some different weapons with a cutter pitch that's been really effective for him. I think the consistency is the thing that's been holding us back.
Craig, we're just a little bit over a month away from the trade deadline. You guys are in a position where you're 2.5 games out of a wild card, and if you kind of continue to play up and down baseball, you'll be in that similar position come trade deadline. Is it safe to say that you guys are going to be active buyers when it comes to helping this baseball team come trade deadline because you now have some cash that freed up for the Devers trade?
Yeah, so two things. There's obviously a lot of baseball between now and then, but we absolutely went into this season with the expectation that we were going to compete and looking to the trade deadline as an opportunity to bolster the team. That's still where our heads are. We want to add to this team. We want to improve our chances down the stretch because we still think that this is a team that's capable of making a deep postseason run, and it's one that we believe in. Now, if the trade deadline doesn't operate the same way as free agency. So dollars are certainly helpful in that they provide flexibility, and they give us the opportunity to maybe go down paths that we wouldn't have been able to otherwise. But so does a deep farm system. And so I think there are going to be a number of different ways that we could improve the team come the deadline.
Alex Cora said yesterday that Bregman will most likely not be back until after the All-Star break. Scott Boras said this week that they would be open to talking about a longer-term deal. Have you already, or will you engage in discussions about a long-term deal there?
Yeah, I think the specifics of the conversations and the timing of the conversations will remain internal. But what I'm very comfortable saying is Alex has been everything that we could have asked for, both on the field. Unfortunately, he's obviously been hurt and hasn't been able to impact games on the field, but also in the clubhouse and from a leadership standpoint, not just in the way that he's helped younger players and our staff, but in the way that he's helped me and many of us in the front office. And so right now, while we're focused on doing everything we can to get him back on the field as quickly as possible. When the right time comes to have those conversations, I'm very, very confident that we will.
Why does, from your perspective, running the whole show, why does this team continue to make costly fundamental mistakes in the field and when it comes to, basic stuff like base running?
Yeah, I think if there were a simple answer, then we wouldn't be talking about this anymore because we would have solved the problem. But
is it the?
I can say that.
But is it the players? Is it the manager?
I think there's responsibility that we all have to take. Now, I think recognizing that we've been kind of a poor fundamental team in the big leagues for a long time has forced us to do is look at the way that we're doing things in the minor leagues too, and question whether or not we're preparing guys to be successful at the major league level. And if you look at our performance in base running and on defense in the minor leagues at each of our affiliates, that's been struggling too. And so we've changed a lot of the way that we're training and teaching and the feedback that we're providing this year. And I think that we've seen some progress, but it's going to take some time. But my hope is that by really being willing to take like a good hard look at everything that we're doing across the organization, we're going to end up in a better place.
Craig, I just, with Bregman still being out and likely until after the All-Star break, why move Devers before knowing when you're going to get Bregman back in some capacity?
I think there are decisions, really hard decisions, that need to be made to some degree independent of each other. And we got to this place where it felt like the Raffy trade and both sides getting a fresh start was important and necessary for the direction that we were going. And that was a really hard decision. And I understand the criticism and I understand, the questions, but it was a hard decision that we had to make.
And with the Devers decision, you alluded to at the deadline that you will have cash, but you also have a deep farm system. According to multiple reports, the organization prioritized the ability to offload the entire contract over better prospects and eating some of the money with Devers. Wouldn't you have been able to accomplish two things if you traded Devers, ate some of the contract, and got assets that would help your major league club now?
I think that would devalue the players that we did get back. And by that, I mean that we really like the players that we have back. If you were to say today, what are the areas that we think we need to improve? Certainly the bullpen, and particularly the back end of the bullpen, just given the workload that guys like Chapman and Weissert and Whitlock and Wilson have taken on. And we think in Jordan Hicks, we did get, a dominant back end reliever. I would point to starting pitching and say, we just talked about the inconsistency in the rotation, and Harrison is somebody that we had identified has a couple of things that he can work on. And then we think he's going to help us and not just help us as, somebody who pitches at the back of a rotation, but somebody who can pitch behind Garrett, and win big games for us. So I think in a lot of ways, we have brought back players that we believe can address some of the deficiencies on our major league team.
But you're a major leaguer, Craig. Like right now, you have a weekend series against the Blue Jays at Fenway Park. You're 40-42. If you're in that clubhouse, why do you care about 2 months down the line? Don't you need people to help you win now?
Absolutely. And there's a ton of belief from those 26 guys in each other. And there's a ton of belief from us in the office and our coaching staffs in those guys. They absolutely were surprised by the trade and the timing of the trade. But in the conversations that I had with each of them and in the comments that they made publicly, they talked about believing in each other, having a job to do, and preparing to win that night's game.
Craig, when you were, and I know it's kind of going back a little bit, but when you're looking at trading a guy like Devers or just trading a player in general, and there are some issues about maybe a guy not being a team player, did that kind of close maybe potential trading partners with you that might had a few questions about his attitude and if he would be willing to do other things?
Hard for me to answer how other teams were viewing the situation. I think most people recognize that they don't have all of the facts and all of the details, and that could work in both directions. But look, this was not personal, and Rafi is not a bad guy. The unfortunate thing is that we just got to a place where it was best for both sides to get that fresh start that I'm talking about. But we saw the way that Rafi endeared himself to the San Francisco fans in a really short amount of time, and he's a really good player and a really good hitter, and he's not a bad guy.
Craig, when we were asking you about Roman Anthony and when you guys were going to call him up, over and over again, you stated and kind of emphasized the importance of him and being able to handle kind of the pressure that you're going to put him in. Now that he's here, things have kind of spiraled. Do you think that he's handling that pressure well? What changed in your mind that you could put him into this position now rather than earlier this season?
Sure. So I guess to the first question, is he handling the pressure well? Based on conversations with him and the way that he's handling himself in the clubhouse, I think the answer is yes. And I was incredibly impressed with his maturity and selflessness when I met him last year, and then in spring training when he was around our major league team. His makeup is special, and I think if there's anyone who could handle the pressure and demands of playing in Boston, Roman can. And what changed obviously is Willie had gotten hurt and was on the IL, so there was a clear opportunity for him to come up and get regular playing time. And then with the Rafi trade and the ability to use kind of 4 outfielders across 3 outfield spots and the DH, I think some of the pressure of feeling like you have to perform from bat number 1, and if you don't get a hit today, you're not going to play tomorrow, has been removed. And that's some of the pressure that we're talking about, not just the ability to come up and save a season or carry a team, but being able to show up at the park every day and know that you're going to play, regardless of how yesterday's performance went.
I was just asking on Roman Anthony, Craig. He's obviously the best prospect in baseball. He comes up. Why did you fire the scout that signed him? Like, if we're talking about this great player and how he's going to change the shape of the organization, and he's this most valued commodity, it feels like you'd want to have people that could find that talent around your club.
Sure, and I don't think it's fair to anybody to get into specifics of a particular decision, but what I can say is, as an organization, we value every person, and there are a lot of great people who are doing a ton of really hard work. Anytime we have had to make a decision to move on from somebody, it's been really, really difficult and keeps me up at night because we know we're impacting people's lives and their families. But the reality is, the game has changed, and the game has changed because the players have changed over the last 20 years. And if we're going to get where we need to go, which is to win a World Series, then we're not going to get there by doing things the exact same way that we have for the last 20 years. And so it's not that we have diminished the role or the importance of scouts. It's that we've asked them to take on some different responsibilities. And that's true across the office, and that's what drove the disruption here over the last year and a half.
You talked earlier about this team. You still believe in them. You still believe they have the opportunity to be there come playoff time. So if the trade deadline were today, then would you be a buyer or a seller?
Yeah, we would be looking to improve our team. We'd be looking to improve our team for 2025 because despite the fact that we haven't been able to strung together the consistent performance that we think we're capable of, we're still very much staring down wild card chances, and nobody has really run away with the AL East. And so as we start to get healthy and we start to look externally about ways that we can improve the team, we think we've got a good chance to make a deep postseason run.
Okay. All right. Well, we appreciate you, as always, taking the time. We are next Thursday, our final road show. We are on the Dive, which is a floating bar, Lake Winnipesaukee. I would invite you, if you want, to do the front office report live from the Dive, Winnipesaukee. I don't know if you're available, but we'd love to have you up there.
No, depending on how the next week goes, I might be able to make myself available. How big is the bar?
Okay, all right.
Pretty big.
Yeah, could,
All right.
You're probably. I'm sure you like to. I don't know if you're a swimmer or not, or you just like to have a good time in the sun. But we'd love to have you there.
I appreciate it, guys.
All right.